Famously, when reflecting on his role in developing the nuclear weapons which were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, J. Robert Oppenheimer said, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." This quote was taken from the Bhagavad Gita, a holy book from the Hindu faith of India. It was originally said by the god Vishnu, one of the Trimurti, a trio of gods who are in fact one. Vishnu is the preserver, and alongside Brahma, the creator, and Shiva, the destroyer, these three forces are the fundamental ones of the universe. Neither can exist without the others, and all three are needed for our world to exist. When Vishnu said the infamous "I am become death" line, they were referring to changing to Shiva, but also to the inevitability of the end. The concept of a triumvirate of gods is not unique to Hinduism. Neither is the balance between death and life, the permanent and the impermanent. It can be a very concise way to express the concept, and it has been popularized even outside of India, thanks to Oppenheimer's infamous quote. I have no doubt the developers of a Japanese video game about an unforgivable weapon being used to end a historic war were aware of Oppenheimer. I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Zygarde. Ever since the third generation standardized the format of Pokémon games, there have been 2 legendary monsters on the game's boxes, with a third hidden away waiting for an extra version. Rayquaza gave us Pokémon Emerald, Giratina gave us Pokémon Platinum. Kyurem was expected to result in Pokémon Grey, but instead we had Black 2 and White 2. Even so, Zygarde seemed poised to follow up X and Y with a Pokémon Z. It never happened. X and Y released in 2013, followed by Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire in 2014. There was no Pokémon game in 2015, and in 2016, for the series' 20th anniversary, Pokémon Sun and Moon kicked off a new generation. Zygarde has an expanded role in the anime, and appeared as a side quest in Pokémon Sun and Moon, but we would have to wait until 2025 to see it get a starring role in Pokémon Legends ZA. Zygarde is a ground and dragon-type Pokémon which resembles a crystalline snake. If Xerneas represented the World Tree and the deer who spread its life force, and Yveltal was the eagle at the end of the world, Zygarde is Jormungandr, the serpent who encircles and contains the world. Pokémon X tells us, when the Kalos region's ecosystem falls into disarray, it appears and reveals its secret power. This is the form in which Zygarde appeared in Pokémon X and Y, hidden away in the post-game at the bottom of Terminus Cave. Pokémon Y tells us, it's hypothesized that it's monitoring those who destroy the ecosystem from deep in the cave where it lives. And Pokémon Sun, this is Zygarde's form when it has gathered 50% of its cells. It wipes out all those who oppose it, showing not a shred of mercy. In later appearances, we learn a little about how Zygarde monitors the status of the world. It can divide into 100 Zygarde cells, small green creatures like little snakes or bugs. Among them are 5, or 2, cores depending on the continuity we're dealing with. When those cores find a threat that needs dealing with, they can gather more cells to form larger Zygarde forms. 10% form resembles a black dog with a green scarf. It isn't quite at the legendary tier of power, but it's a handy enough Pokemon in a pinch. Pokemon Sun tells us, its sharp fangs made short work of finishing off its enemies, but it's unable to maintain this body indefinitely. After a period of time, it falls apart. And Pokemon Moon says, This is Zygarde's form when about 10% of its cells have been gathered. It runs across the land at speeds greater than 60 miles per hour. 50% form is the original snake. If that's based on Jormungandr, this dog form is that serpent's brother, the wolf Fenrir. And beyond that is the humanoid 100% form, perhaps inspired by the third sister of the family, the goddess of the underworld, Hel. 100% form is a big, humanoid, robot-looking entity, like a Power Rangers Megazord or a fully evolved Digimon. Pokémon Sun says of complete form, "This is Zygarde's form at times when it uses its overwhelming power to suppress those who endanger the ecosystem." Pokémon Moon says, "This is Zygarde's 100% form. It has enough power to overwhelm even Xerneas or Yveltal." Ultra Sun says, "From the orifice on its chest, it radiates high-powered energy that eliminates everything." And Ultra Moon says, "It uses force to neutralize those who harm the ecosystem." In-game, this form has outrageous stats, but can only be used when 50% form falls below half health, making it a dangerous proposition to try to wield in battle. Despite incredible power, this limit, and the threat of a fairy-type Xerneas, made Zygarde a rare sight on the competitive scene. Perhaps that will change in future generations. According to Lysandra, although Zygarde never showed up to help stop the ultimate weapon at the end of X and Y, it did arrive shortly after and help with the rescue. He went on to explain that Zygarde learns from different regions it visits. It developed a Mega Revolution in Kalos, seen in the endgame of Pokémon Legends EA. And in this form, it has access to the move Nihil Light, an obnoxiously powerful move like the Z moves of Alola. In Mega form, the black armor that usually surrounds Zygarde's body is stripped away to form an enormous cannon, revealing the green innards on the body. The name Zygarde combines guard, as this is the guardian of the creation and destruction process, represented by Xerneas and Yveltal, with zygote, for the smaller cells which join to form a complete whole. Even the mightiest life forms, like a human being or the world tree Yggdrasil, are actually supported by communities of tiny microorganisms. And when those large creatures die, they spell new life for countless more smaller life forms. A beautiful cycle worth protecting. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. If you enjoy the podcast, find out about my other shows at podcastiopodcastius.org. Get in touch on Blue Sky at Podcast Podcast, or support the show at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. If you want to see my slow playthrough of Pokémon Legends ZA, check out twitch.tv/Buskalily. I love hearing from listeners. Up next are Diancie and Hooper, so hit me up about those or any other Pokemon. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Zygarde, and remember, I love you too.